been about a month now since I said goodbye to my sweet boy. And today I did a couple things. One, I moved his bed out of my walk-in closet. It's the first time I could actually bring myself to do that. I thought it felt like it was time to clear some space as we're heading into a new year. I'm also out. I'm taking a quick break, and apologies if you hear a lot of wind in the background. It's a bit breezy today, but today is the first day I am taking one of our favorite paths. I haven't been able to bring myself to take one of our paths since he's left. It's just been too hard. And so, December's been a really challenging month. It's been a bit of a shit show. It's been some pretty intense emotion and grief and just a whole process in terms of how to navigate all of this. And it got me thinking a lot about expectations and energy in the new year. And so I thought I'd stop one just to give you an update on how things are going. Grief is an interesting thing, and I know I've been posting and sharing a lot, so you may have seen many of the letters I've written Peyton or what's just been kind of channeling through. It has been a journey. It is by no means over. I finally feel like I'm in a place where I can talk about things and show up on video again without bursting into tears. So that being said, I'm doing well. I'm doing as well as can be expected as one navigates through the absolute worst grief I've ever been through. And I've dealt with a lot of loss in my life. I've had other pets that have gone. I've had people in my life. And Peyton was different. Peyton was my baby, and here comes the tears again. Peyton was my family. He was my entire world for a decade. And, not only did he move with me from Milwaukee to Austin, he helped me heal when my dad passed, which there was a whole lot of trauma and stuff there. I hadn't even spoken to my father 15 years before he passed, and Peyton was absolutely critical in healing whatever was still there when my dad left this earth. He helped me navigate out of a heartbreaking relationship that just wasn't the right space moving forward. Still think the world of that person. He helped me start a business. He helped me write my books. He was part of my business. And so it's, and he was my whole world. And so it's been a challenging period. And like I said, it lets me think about a lot of things about the new year. I really feel like we have all this unnecessary bullshit tied to expectations around what the new year's supposed to be. I feel like we have this idea that, coming out of what can be a very difficult, challenging, just hell period for people, the holidays are charged. I know this isn't the first holiday that's been challenging for me. Holidays in general have been challenging. It was when my dad was most abusive. There's a lot of trauma tied to the holidays. There's a lot of unhealed shit for people through the holidays. There's abuse oftentimes, or abandonment, or there's a lot of grief. For whatever reason, a lot of loss happens during this time of the year. And so this notion, this idea that we're supposed to hit some switch, one of the things that just really triggers me sometimes and kind of pisses me off, actually I would say it really pisses me off, is when I see the memes or I see the stuff out there that's like, new year, new you. That's a bunch of bullshit, and I want to tell you why. First of all, there is this idea that there's this arbitrary switch we're supposed to turn on, and like by some magic wand or some like putting a wish into the universe, it's supposed to change everything. So first and foremost, that's just unrealistic. It's unrealistic to think that we can just turn on some switch and say all of the stuff that's felt heavy through the season, all of the challenges, all of the shit, it's just going to go away. And now I'm not saying that making a single choice doesn't oftentimes change your life in a heartbeat and can have a quantum effect. It absolutely can, but there's work behind that. And I'm going to explain that in just a minute. But this idea that you can say a phrase that says, new year, new me. New year, new you, and all of a sudden, everything is just going to magically disappear, and you're going to step into this higher level consciousness for yourself is absolute utter bullshit. And I think it's an asinine statement, truthfully, for a couple reasons. One, there's no depth behind it. There's nothing other than some very airy-fairy kind of mantra that's not even really aligned to who you are, what's meaningful, or what you're looking to seek to become in your life. That expansion of your higher self, it's not present. The other thing that does is it creates these arbitrary or these very, I don't know, just not serving, really crazy New Year's resolutions that aren't connected or aligned to anything. And so oftentimes, I mean, studies have shown people fall off most of their New Year's resolutions within the first week, if not by February. And so this idea that we're setting ourselves up for massive failure before we even get started, to me sometimes is infuriating. It's infuriating that we've created a culture that says this is acceptable, that this is what we're supposed to do. January 1, reset the clock. And it was interesting because I was watching a video from Danielle Laporte last week, and she was talking about how there's a different energy moving right now and how we really need to align ourselves to the natural cycles. So like the lunar cycle and the energy of the universe, our human design, how things are set up. And I love because she talked about how the old Gregorian calendar is what we are creating this arbitrary switch and connecting it to, right? So we're just like January 1, all is good, wave the magic wand and poof, you're just supposed to step into a space that says, okay, it's all done. I'm going to step into the higher conscious level of me. I'm going to be the best version of myself and it's going to be a new me. Yet, let's go. Boom. Oh my God. Let me just call foul and bullshit on all of that. Because here's the thing. First of all, we are in an incredibly dense energy right now. If you look at what's going on universally, if you look at what's going on from an energetic standpoint, first of all, we're in Capricorn season. Capricorn season in and of itself is heavy and dense. It is a big processing space to deal with unresolved emotion, to deal with conflict, to deal with trauma, to deal with relationships that need to be like cleaned out a little bit. So Capricorn season in and of itself is a purging season. It is a season where we need to let things go. The other thing we need to realize is that Mercury is retrograde once again, which means we have all kinds of stuff showing up emotionally and from a communication standpoint. And we are about to move into a full moon that's a Cancer full moon. So again, a very emotionally charged energy. That alone is enough to take pause. Add that on top of all of the stuff, the shit that just goes on around this time of year. I mean, I think about the trauma, the unresolved healing, the conversations, the grief, the pressure of the holidays, you know, people spending more than what they have, putting this pressure on how they have to show up, what they're supposed to do. And we get so caught up on what we keep seeing on socials or what we keep seeing out external to ourselves that we've forgotten how to give ourselves space and grace and pause to come back home to ourselves first. And so I look at January 1 is an arbitrary, not real date, and this idea that we're supposed to be like, new year, new you, let's go, charge it up. I call timeout. I'm going to call foul. And I will tell you the last couple of years, if I really looked at, it was interesting because after I heard Danielle Laporte talk about this, I went out and kind of looked at things for myself. The last 2 years, I have not felt like the new year has hit till sometime in February. And so last year it was February 5th. Well, comes to find out the lunar new year was actually February 1st. January for 2021, I did not feel like I could step into anything until February 8th. The lunar new moon was February 12th. And this year, the lunar new moon is January 22nd. And I have to tell you, as I feel into what I need right now, because I am in no way, shape, or form ready to jump into some kind of new year energy bullshit idea of, I gotta just ramp it up. First of all, that idea of hustle is ridiculous anyway. Hustle for the sake of a hustle is as bad as being busy for the sake of busy. And y'all know I say busy is buried under shooting on yourself, right? And it's all this shooting and shaming and expectations, and it's all this pressure we keep putting on ourselves to say, I got to jump into something, even though energetically we're not aligned to that. And I would tell you that most people right now need a period of rest. We need a place to restore, to recalibrate, to reset, coming off of dense energy that the holidays oftentimes presents. And again, in a season like Capricorn, Cancer full moon, Mercury retrograde, whatever else is going on. We got a lot of eclipses toward the end of the year. I mean, there's just been a ton of dense energy. We have got to create more space and grace to allow ourselves to ease into a better, more sustainable alignment so that we truly can stay aligned as fuck. And to be aligned as fuck means you've got to give yourself space and grace. You've got to give yourself a place to say, is my energy ready to jump into my next level? Or does my energy need a place to restore, to renew, to recalibrate, to rest, to be okay just doing nothing? And I am all for it. And so don't hear me wrong, because I really do see incredible value in setting goals. However, the problem is most people set goals just for the sake of setting goals, and that's where New Year's resolutions go wrong. Goals, real meaningful goals that come from a place of the work you've done for yourself. They come from a place of you being aligned and coming home back to yourself. The goals that are intentional goals that are connected to a deep and powerful, meaningful why, to your purpose, to your dharma, to a place of how you can serve at your highest and best level. Those goals I am behind all day long. My business is built on helping people understand and clarify those goals so that they can create greater focus, they can align their energy in the right ways, and they can set themselves up to open up space for inspired action. That's really powerful. And for most people right now, they're not ready for that. Most people need a period to slow down before they speed up. Most people right now need a place to reset and recalibrate and come back to something that's more meaningful for them. The holidays take us out sometimes. The end of the year takes us out. We get back into the grind, we get back into the hustle, and we lose sight and we lose focus on what matters most. First and foremost, you filling your cup, doing what's required to nurture your body, mind, and spirit, knowing how to fill your own cup so you're actually in a place where you're full or overflowing. For most people, myself included, the end of the year has me feeling a little tapped out. The end of the year has me feeling like, I just need to sleep. Even this morning, we started up another camp cycle for Camp Gladiator, and I was all like, yep, I'm going to jump in 6 a.m. this morning. And I sent a message to my trainer, and I'm like, no. I'm like, I want another day to just sleep in. I want another day. I've been processing a head cold. I picked up on my multiple chips. I mean, I had a big leadership retreat I did right before coming back for a day, and then going 5 days into a trip to spend with my entire family for the holidays. And while it was beautiful and filling, it also was a lot of energy, and I'm exhausted. And so no, surprised that I picked up a cold, especially when I ate some crap and allowed myself more sugar and stuff that I don't normally do. And again, I'm not punishing myself, it just is. And so to process all of this out, I need a space to just take a breath. I need a space to slow down, to speed back up. And so what I want to offer you is I want to offer you this grace. I want to offer you a space to stop listening and buying into all the bullshit that says new year, new you. Oh my God, it's January 1, hit reset. It's January 2nd today, whatever day it is, it doesn't matter. Stop thinking that you got to flip a switch just because everybody tells you to. What I want you to do, and if you're going to do anything different for 2023, is I want you to think about intention, to really start leaning into yourself, to ask what serves you at the highest level. What feels like it's an alignment for you. Look, this whole idea of being aligned as fuck isn't about my version of what that looks like for you. It's not about what you see on socials. It's not about what everybody else has told you your whole life or all of the shitting and shaming you've put on yourself. It's not all the noise. It is you getting to a place that you can come home to yourself, that you can get so connected into your own authority, into your own signature, into your own design to say, is this aligned for me? Does this serve for me to play at my highest and best level? Does this feel congruent? And here's the thing, only you can answer that question. It isn't a space for someone else to give that to you. You already have all the answers you need. You already know what you need to step into your next level. And for some of you, myself included, that means you need to rest first. It means you need to just let yourself be in the non-doing. And I think it was Einstein that said, although I know other teachers and spiritual leaders have said the same, it's in the non-doing that the magic happens. In fact, today I was like, I'm not working at all, and here I am doing a video because it's channeling through me, and I'm like, I just feel the need. I'm showing up, no makeup, baseball hat, because I'm having my rest. But I also wrote a blog today. I haven't written a blog since probably September because nothing's really come. I mean, I've done a lot of writing recently in my grief, so I guess those have been kind of mini posts that I've put out, dealing with losing Peyton and dealing what I'm navigating through right now, because that really is cathartic for me. To write, to express is such a cathartic space for me. And so a lot has opened up over the last month. But as a full blog post that I haven't put on my website, today I couldn't help it. It was on my phone. I'm just sitting, being in the silence, being in the non-doing. And all of a sudden, this idea just came in around, stop talking about new year, new you. Let's talk about new year, same you, real you, more authentically aligned as fuck you. Let's talk about you, the you that has always been there, that's just trying to come out. It's not about you finding yourself. It's not about you being something different. It's not about you seeking out some purpose. You already are all of that. You already are enough just because. You already are whole. You are not broken. And you already know your purpose because you are purpose. Just you breathing, taking in breath, taking in every moment. And so I will tell you, I think it's interesting. And last year I ended up having a phrase, and I think I shared this with all of you. There's some years that I have a word for the year. Again, I'm not feeling the new year yet. I'm letting myself ride into January 22nd and feel the energy of the lunar new moon. It just feels more aligned. I want to get out of some of this dense energy. I want to do what I need to heal physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I just need a period to ease into things, and I'm okay with that. And so I think about, oftentimes we have that word. Last year I had a phrase. My phrase last year was, I am not available. And it took me probably halfway through the year. It wasn't until June or July. It was probably July when I came out of my sabbatical, or my first part of my sabbatical, that I realized that it was, I'm no longer available in any way, shape, or form to play fucking small in my life. That was I'm not available. And I was like, oh, now I understand why that phrase spoke to me at the beginning of the year. And it was more like February 5th when that dropped in as, that's going to be my due north. That's going to be the way, in addition to the way every day I set myself up with my 3 words and my integrity and the values that I have. My due north was, I am not available. I'm not available for anything that pulls me out of my own authenticity. I'm not available in any way, shape, or form to play fucking small in my life. I'm not available for it. And I really felt the resonance of that. It dropped in. Well, this year, let me tell you, I know my word, or I know my phrase, because it's actually going to be an acronym. But it hit me this morning when I was getting a little fired up about the fact that this whole new year, new you bullshit that we buy into, and just the energy of what we're supposed to do to activate this ridiculous switch that doesn't even exist. Because if you look at it, the Gregorian calendar is actually outdated. It is not even real. So this fact that January 1 is some end all be all of everything, whatever, I'm over it. So I say that because this year, my word, I realize, is rogue. I am fucking going rogue in 2023. And here's what it means. Rogue for me is another acronym. And again, this shit just drops in. I can't make it up. I absolutely no effort. It just came through, sitting in the non-doing, allowing myself to slow down to where I'm going to be ramping up whenever the energy is right. But rogue R is about the reverence. It's the deep respect, grace, and place for myself and others. It is that place of knowing that I am connected to all, and that the best way I can honor nature, be in nature, and be one with nature is to show great reverence for myself and for others, and to do that with grace. So that is the first part of rogue. It is all about reverence. The second part of rogue is about overflowing. It's about overflowing in kindness, compassion, in empathy, in spirit. It's about overflowing in all aspects of my life, in abundance and prosperity. It's about allowing myself not only to show up and to serve in the highest way possible from a place where I am full and overflowing, but it's also from a place to be able to receive overflowing gifts and blessings and abundance, and to allow myself to be a pure channel that is mindful of how to stay in that overflowing position. The G is about gratitude. We talk a lot about an attitude of gratitude, or there's a lot to be said around, gratitude, blessings. And for me, there's an intentionality and raising the consciousness of how I'm practicing. I'm a big fan of practicing gratitude, having a gratitude practice versus just an attitude. But there's an intentionality around finding gratitude in everything. And that's the good, bad, and the ugly. That is in both the blessings and the really hard lessons and the heartbreak and the things that don't make sense. Just because I don't know why something is showing up doesn't mean that everything. And I think about it right now. I'm reading Jay Shetty's Think Like a Monk, and I love that he says monks have gratitude in everything. And for me, there's a practice to that, an intentionality I want to bring forward in 2023. The U is around unconditional love. It's about unconditional love for myself. It's about showing up in a way that I am coming from my highest consciousness in body, mind, and spirit. It's about the most generous assumptions I can make for me and I can make of others. It's about really coming from a place of overflowing generosity around knowing that love is truly love and gratitude are the answer for everything. And so for me, it's taking permission from what Peyton taught me. I think about Peyton, the power of Peyton's legacy. I think about what that sweet boy taught me. It was unconditional love. And I want to practice that. I want to be in a place to practice more unconditional love, to have the most generous assumptions of everything, including myself, and to practice more space and grace. And the E is all around expression. It's around how I get to stay aligned as fuck and express the truth of who I truly am and what I'm becoming. It's about coming back home to myself and standing in a place to know I cannot decide whether or not my message or what's in my heart is for you or not. All I can do is be true to myself and stand in a place where I am honoring that expression of who I am. And so there's an alignment, authenticity, and that expression. And so for me, it's all about going rogue in 2023. It's about reverence. It's about being in a space to be overflowing. It's gratitude. It's unconditional love, and it's expression. And so I offer you think about, as you allow yourself to ease into this new space, what's going to hold you accountable? What's going to be your due north that maybe seems a little scary, that maybe feels like it's bigger than where you're currently at? Because trust me, Rogue's going to challenge me. And I just want to say cheers. Cheers to whenever you choose to activate the new year, if you choose. Cheers to you staying aligned as fuck and letting go of all the noise around you. Cheers to you being your highest version and most authentic aspect of yourself. And here's to you doing you. And I just want you to know that I love you. I am so deeply grateful for you being part of this journey. And how about we stop saying new you, new year, new you, and we start saying new year, same you, real you, authentically aligned as fuck you. With that, I'll catch you next time.